live in Vancouver. Flight delays, never fun, but Vancouver is a cool city. I love Vancouver. I think Vancouver is one of the healthiest city, I would say. Yeah, everybody likes walking and hiking, and everybody's healthy. My my first time in Vancouver, I was actually I arrived like in the middle of the night, and then I was at a hotel, and I opened the curtain. I was by the water, and it was so beautiful. It was like 5 a.m. and the sun was coming up, and I really truly understood why people really like Vancouver. And it's about that mix of city and water and nature and beautiful landscapes. So gotta love Vancouver. So I am on my way to Kaaboo Del Mar, which is a massive music event where Stingray Quello will be streaming more than 30 shows, including Imagine Dragon, Katy Perry, Nelly, Cake, all very freaking good bands. So I brought the trusty here, trusty Peak Design bag, and this is the Peak Design 20 liters. And I've been able to fit a lot of gear in there. I mean, I've packed a Fujifilm X-H1, so I'm trying that on a trip. I also packed the 10 to 24 for wide angle and for maybe some vlogging. I don't know. We'll see. And I'm also packing the 16 to 55, which is the 70 to the 24 to 70 equivalent, 2.8. So that should be very, very interesting because there's going to be a ton of photo opportunity down there. Hey, Scott, good evening. Thank you for joining that totally random live stream from my phone. So if you see that the quality of both the video and the audio sucks, well, now you know because I'm on my phone in Vancouver, stuck here for what I hope will not be the whole night. There seems to be some delays right now to get to San Diego, but I'm a positive guy, so I'm staying positive. Um, I just bought a Sony A7 III. Got a lot of hate for it. I don't know why people are so adamant or so passionate and so I would say sometimes violent in the comments on YouTube about people switching brands. And it made me think about the fact that who cares, man? Don't really care about the uh, brands you're shooting with. I think at the end of the day, the real uh, thing is that photographers should focus on the art, should focus on the story they're trying to tell versus the gear that they have. Sorry, I'm trying to remove something that I'm seeing on screen. Oh, there you go. So yeah, so I've been shooting with the Sony A7 III. I didn't bring it on this trip because I didn't want to kind of have to learn a new system on the fly. I am getting better at understanding how to use the Sony A7 III, but I'm still a bit too new, and I only have one lens right now. It's the excellent and exquisite 35 millimeters 1.4, and it's a very very good lens. I really enjoy that lens. The bokeh is very 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 good, very buttery. The lens is sharp. It also has the aperture ring on it, so that's pretty cool because coming from Fujifilm and also being a Fujifilm shooter still today, I am now more accustomed to the aperture ring being the way I change my aperture. So this is the A7 III. Been very very happy with it, especially for video. I mean, the quality of the video is just killer. And I also downloaded the EOS HD plugin, not plugin, but settings. And I think the name of the guy is Andrew or something like that. He makes a very very good tweak to the camera, so it actually looks a little bit more like a Canon camera or Canon's color science, but you know what? The Sony color science has gotten better since the A6500 that I had. I hated the colors, and I made a video about that. The fact that it was practically impossible to um, color grade. And now that we have this A7 III on the market, they really, really thought about the color science, and it shows. So happy about that. But the camera I decided to bring is actually the Fujifilm, and it's a Fujifilm X-H1. I wanted to make sure that I give this camera a try in a travel situation, so I'll be able to report back to this channel on my experience with it. I will shoot both stills and videos, so I'll be able to tell you if the camera is good for travel. I sold the X Pro 2, beloved X Pro 2, should I say. I am not keeping 5 cameras. This is too much, so I needed to sell one in order to buy the Sony. So I still have the XT2, I still have the X100F, I still have the A7 III Sony, and what else do I have? I think I have an X70 from Fuji that my daughter uses right now. So that's kind of there's still too much gear on my gear shelf. Oh, and I have the Canon M50 for some vlogging, so way too much gear on that gear shelf. But I think I'm narrowing down my needs, and Sony for video, I think is really good. Fuji for photos, I think nothing beats Fuji color science for photos. I have high hopes in the X-T3. I don't have the X-T3. I don't own the X-T3, but I am super excited about the 4K 60 frames per second that they announced, and that will be a very, very good camera. No stabilization on the sensor on the X-T3, so that for me is a bit of a downer because I do a lot of handheld shot with my video cameras, so I could use a little stabilization on the sensor. I mean, I know there's lens that have. Oh, sorry about that. Almost dropped my iPhone. I know there's lenses that have the stabilization on, but nothing beats a good 5-axis stabilizer on the sensor. So, um, yeah, silly better video and no ibis. Silly better video? Not sure I'm understanding what you mean. Uh, I think from what I've seen, um, Z Pro Media did a very good review on it. You should definitely go watch it. He's oh, the XT3, yeah. The XT3, Z Pro Media did a very good comprehensive review on it, and he's also amazed by the autofocus, the eye autofocus. So that's something that's been very, very strong on the Sony side, and of course the Canon side. Um, Canon side has the dual pixel autofocus. They did put it in uh, the EOS R. I think it's, I forgot the name, but the mirrorless camera they just released. But Sony is literally winning the game when it comes to eye autofocus. I mean, I saw so many people using it. I am now using it on the A7 III, and I'm liking it a lot. So if you want the best eye autofocus, Sony or Canon, and I'm excited to see what how the X-T3 reacts. Apparently, they have a faster processor in there, and they have a very, very good autofocus, including eye autofocus. So we will wait and see. Uh, will I get the X-T3? I don't know. I already have a lot of Fujifilm cameras. My girlfriend started to use the X-T2. She had an X-T10, but there's some water that actually got on the camera, and it's kind of dead. Well, it kind of works, but it makes a funny sound. So, anyways, she uses that camera. I use the X-H1, and I'm actually about to, unleash the power of the X-H1 over the weekend. Brought a lot of batteries because this is a sucker for battery. So X-H1, but again, the important thing is the lenses. And if you have good lenses, then the camera body becomes almost irrelevant. If you're a constant low light shooter, then it is a little bit more important. sensor and the ISO and all this great stuff. But if you are just a casual video and photo shooter, I think there's no wrong camera bodies out there. All the camera bodies today in 2018 are very, very good. Whether if it's the X-T2 or the X-T3, the Sony A7 III, A7R, this is a more expensive one, or even the Canon cameras. Not because it's a DSLR that it's over and that's not good. DSLRs are still very, very reliable, but at the end of the day, if you want something lighter, something smaller, and something that you can actually see the exposure right through the EVF, nothing beats a mirrorless system. I've made the switch. Is it 2 years ago? 2.5 years ago, and I couldn't be happier about this switch from Nikon full frame to Sony and Fujifilm, mostly Fujifilm, and more recently Sony. So that's pretty much it, guys. So if you have any questions, please put them down below. I will be talking about the Fujifilm X-H1 when I'm back from that trip to San Diego for Kaaboo Del Mar. You love your D850, Scott? Absolutely, man. The D850, I think, is one of the best, if not the best DSLR that's been built. And I think if you look at the D700, way back when I owned the D700 Nikon, and I think people had the same feeling that they were truly uh, working with the best, the cream of the crop of cameras, and to pack such great resolution and autofocus and responsiveness and ergonomics in one camera is really, really a cool thing from Nikon. But they had to enter the mirrorless game like everybody else. And I think that their Z6 and Z7, compared to Canon, it's not very, very good in terms of the specs. And one camera and one card slot is an error, I think. I'm pretty sure they will come back with two card slot on the second generation of these cameras, but right now in 2018 to put one card slot, you're losing all the wedding photographers for sure, because you can't afford to have a card that falls on you and then you go back to the couple and you're like, well, I lost all your files. So I think this is a mistake on their part. But again, I mean, Nikon is just entering the mirrorless system game, and so is Canon. I mean, the Canon has some interesting features. It has the flip out screen. Um, Nikon overpriced, flop for mirrorless. Yeah, yeah. But I think they will get there eventually, and the lenses will also get there eventually. So I think when Sony launched, they did not have a lot of a lot of lenses. It was literally just one or two lenses, and you could adapt your Canon glass or your Tamron and your Sigmas. But if you look at it today, you can buy an entire Sony lens system, um, and don't have to adapt anything, and you can be native, and you can have very, very fast and reliable autofocus and so on and so forth. Oh, good morning from the UK, Digital Nomad 1968. It is here. What time is it now? I am in Vancouver right now, and I'm trying to see what time is it. Oh, it's 8:24, but I live in Montreal, so right now it's 3 hours forward in Montreal, so that makes it uh, 11. That's why I'm so tired, and that's why I'm having um, issues focusing, literally. And I'm delayed. I just got another notification while I was talking to you guys that my flight was delayed for another hour. So how cool is that? That's the joy of travel life, and sometimes you are stuck in airports and you try to make the most out of it. So that's why I decided to go online. That's why the quality of the video is not good. This is my iPhone X. Actually, it's not bad. And I tried a little plug-in for the colors, and it reminds me of some of the LUTs that I'm using sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the camera systems that I use right now. And I'm thinking about buying another Sony lens, but I would like your recommendation. I know there's a lot of Sony shooters out there, and I would like to see or to hear or to read what you guys are recommending as my second lens. So I have the 35 millimeter 1.4. Love that lens. I think it's a great environmental lens, also portrait lens, and also a lens that's gives me a very very nice separation with the background when I do portraiture. But I'm able to also capture kind of the scene when I do portraits. But what should be my next lens? What is your best lens that you're using on your Sony system? What's the lens that you cannot go without? Good night, Fred. 11:25 here. Yeah, so you're on the East Coast, right? Just like Montreal time where I live. It's also 11:45, so that's why I'm usually in bed by that time. I'm an old, um, relaxed guy, so I don't party anymore. Ontario, yeah, East Coast represent. So okay, I will end this live chat or this live feed right now. If you have any questions, put them down below. If you can recommend a Sony lens, please do it. I would love to hear about it. And don't forget to be happy, to enjoy life, and to enjoy your gear. Cheers.